Okay, now the really important stuff. On to our first speaker today. She is the Senior Vice President of Global Operations at QSC. She has over 25 years of experience in supply chain, and she's been responsible for building supply chain teams and processes in startup environments, as well as in existing established enterprises. Her extensive experience has made her a widely sought-after speaker and thought leader, and she's here to talk to us about QSC's journey to an AI-enabled supply chain. So please join me with a very loud and warm welcome to Karen Evanoff.
Yay! Welcome, Karen. Can everybody hear me? Oh, I can hear myself. Okay. First of all, thank you for letting me be here. I was kind of originally hoping to be in a breakout because this is quite big and I am not a celebrity. So I just wanted to say thank you. We're just going to share a little bit about the journey that we and QSC have been on. And just to say that you may look at this and go, the time for wow is now. Wow, that's kind of corny. But the reason that we have that wow there is because wow is a core value that we have at QSC, and it's delivering wow. Delivering wow to our customers, delivering wow from an innovation point of view, and delivering wow to our employees. And I take the employee part very personally as well, because growing up in supply chain, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the history, it was tough. We didn't have things like Excel, which now is cumbersome, but when you didn't have it and you got it, that was a wow. So when you look at this picture here of our team, this was just a fun event that we have every year, and everyone participates, and including our CEO playing pickleball. I think he was pretty good at it. But you know, we just really love working at QSC, and our goal as leaders is to make the lives of our employees a little bit more bearable. And we see, at least from my perspective, in supply chain, that E2 Open helps us do that. This is our CEO, Joe Pham, and really the pace of technology change is truly accelerating with new innovations just emerging constantly. As a supply chain professional, I've seen it in the last 10 years just go so much faster than it did in my first, I don't know, 20 almost. And when you look at that, if you do not get off ground zero now, you're just going to continue to be behind all of the other people who are stepping up and going forward faster. And we do not want to be in that position at QSC and make it just more and more difficult to adapt and evolve quickly as the changes happen. If you get a chance, I really encourage you to look at this speech that Joe gave, because he uses his daughter, Ellie, who's 11 years old, as an inspiration by saying, at 11 years old today, her experience is so different from when I was 11 years old. Because even centuries before, there were hundreds of thousands of 11-year-olds that all lived the same lifestyle. And he said, I don't know what my 11-year-old grandchild's gonna be like, but it won't be like my daughter's. So I just thought that is really fascinating, because some of us didn't grow up with that fast technological change, but our generation coming is going to see it. And there are a lot of wows that they're gonna see that we may not even be participating in. Going forward, I just want to say some wow moments in our personal lives. You can look at your baby's first steps, their first words, just experiencing life. We have a dream vacation. I know that would be my wow, to have a dream vacation and fully paid for and not worry about it. This is for a lot of guys out there, not so much me, but your favorite team wins the championship. I still don't relate to that very well, but you know, I have a lot of friends who do. And then when we look at our wows in supply chain, we have stock. Isn't that great when you don't have a sales guy yelling at you going, where's my stuff? How come I didn't get it on time? Ugh, that's the worst thing that you want to have happen to you. The other thing would be, I know where my stuff is. It's coming. It's on that red container in the middle, and it's going to arrive here, so we can predict that it'll be off that ship and in my hands by this date. That, to me, is a wow. Things we couldn't do when I first started in supply chain. You had to call your carrier, and you had to hope that it was there. When you look at a warehouse guy, look at the handheld information that they have now. Instead of waiting for, here's the thing I'm gonna print out, let me see what I gotta go pick, it's right at his fingertips. And he knows or she knows what they've got to do to be fully connected and know what the next step in their journey is in that day. They're not sitting there wondering, what do I have to do today? Because it's real time. Those are the wows that we experience, hopefully, in our organizations that we continue to improve upon. So I'd like to go back a little bit to the past. I think some of us can relate to the 80s and 90s. I certainly can relate to the end of the 80s. I'm dating myself. And we've witnessed a lot of wows. I don't know if any of you remember when we didn't have email, and then when we had email, we could only email within 4 walls. And that was super exciting for us. We didn't even have Excel. We finally got Lotus 123. Does everyone remember that? And I thought it was fantastic. But then when we got Excel and Microsoft Office, I'm like, oh my God, this is so fabulous. It's so easy. And now we're like, can we please get off Excel? But that was a wow at that time, right? And I remember I had the privilege of being able to live in Italy for a while. That's my grandmother's background, so thank goodness I was kind of related to there. But I was working with ST Microelectronics, a great company, and they gave me a cell phone because ours did not work over there when we traveled. So I noticed I can text on this cell phone? Could not text at the ones from US carriers. And I thought that was a wow moment for me. So you can see all of these technology things that we thought were great are just status quo or super old now. And as we move to the right side of this slide deck, we're going to see a lot of wows coming as we go exit the 2020s. And so much is happening so fast, and I'm getting towards the twilight of my career that I'm kind of excited because I really want to see it happen while I'm still in the job market, because to me, this is my passion, making lives for supply chain professionals and operations teams much easier so they can answer the questions that their executives are asking of them, that their customers are asking, because I believe that if we can do that, your customers return. I'm a customer. If my suppliers answer my questions and give me what I want, when I want it, at the price I want, without any hassles, I'm gonna go back to them all the time. Just like E2Open, I go back to them, fix this, do that. They respond to me. Nothing's ever perfect. As long as you respond to your customer, that's the key. So if you look at this, it kind of looks like this graph looks really pretty, doesn't it? It's really, beautiful, everything's flowing, there's a lot of interaction, but really, we can't continue to operate in the same way that we've been operating in our lives in the past, especially for those of you who are a little bit further in your career than some that are newly starting. We are so interconnected. I remember when I first started, I worked at Western Digital, and everything was in 4 walls. Our manufacturing was captive. Our Oracle, when we finally put Oracle in, was captive. Everything was easy. Everything flowed to our factories in Singapore. No problem. We called somebody, we faxed, we finally emailed. All of that was a lot easier. Now, we've got things coming from everywhere and everybody. And one of the things I really loved yesterday, hearing some of the talks about the risk assessments that we've got to do, these tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 issues are becoming so prevalent. And if anyone here does business with any government, but primarily the US government, that's becoming more and more critical because you need to know what's in your supply chain to be even able to say, I can sell that to you honestly, and that you've done your due diligence. It's extremely connected, orchestrated chaos is what I call it. Nothing's ever gonna be perfect. We just heard about that pure quartz mine in North Carolina. That is used to grow ingots, which get our wafers for semiconductors. They're one of the largest producers of pure quartz. We're all of us who are involved in semiconductor procurement is like, oh my God, what am I gonna do now? I have other sources, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. So we're all watching that with keen interest and hoping the people who live in that area are safe because it was devastated with Hurricane Helene. That's out of our control. We need to know now, what do we need to do about it? So we no longer, in a world like this, and just put a bazillion more arrows going like this all over the place, we no longer can rely on Excel. And if we are, shame on us. Because our teams, as we exit our careers and new people come on, the young people are like, I'm not gonna stay here and do this job. This is horrible. I'm here up till 3 in the morning. We don't need that anymore because technology is available to change our lives. So if you move to this slide, why is it now I like this slide because all of these elements in these quadrants are key, but they need to be constantly moving and being evaluated with real data and real-time data as much as possible to be able to make the right response, right? And connecting to a customer, and I heard this in one of the breakouts, that it's a little hard sometimes for our suppliers to let us in. We need to really continue to push for that. We need to say, I'm your customer because you are transparent. And I'm a firm believer in transparency. Obviously, you're not going to share costs with other people, but I'm a firm believer in transparency and visibility. It makes life easier. People aren't getting angry. Everybody understands why something's happening. But as long as you're transparent and you have that visibility, you can make better decisions. Is the information always going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But at least you know with the information you have, you can do something about it. So really, we really need to be connected appropriately in these 4 quadrants. And this is part of the journey that we at QSC are on, to be able to say, all right, am I connected here? We're not perfect yet, but we've started our journey, and we'll talk a little bit about where we are in that. And we were able in COVID to win market share against our competition because we knew where our stuff was, we knew what stuff we didn't have and we needed to get, and all of our connected suppliers knew what we needed, and we were able to work things that other guys could not, especially in the semiconductor market. So to us, having E2 Open at that time, thank God we put it in when we did, was a big win for us because it saved my team's time in just collecting data and being able to action now what they needed to do. So when we say we want to do all this stuff, to me, the first thing, and this is what I've been preaching since I've been at QSC for 9 years, data, data, master data management, data cleanliness, data stewardship, data, data, data. We talk about AI, we talk about machine learning. If you have bad data, forget it. So we're on a big, huge initiative within the entire company because our CEO wants us to be an AI-enabled organization. And again, I encourage you to listen to that keynote that he gave. It was phenomenal. But really, we are in most of these pillars here with E2 Open, and we have elements. We're not 100% in everything. We're starting to roll out global trade, and that to us is going to be a real key because we are now more multinational than when I first started. But all of these elements are making us win in certain categories. And we are really strong right now in the demand and supply and demand planning. And we are bringing up this inventory element. We want to look at multi-enterprise and the tier inventory tiers. The things, I was in the meeting yesterday where one of the gentlemen said it was very hard to get that sub-tier data. We're going to be really pushing for it, so I hope I can talk to you again and see what challenges you made. All of this stuff, because at the top, at the end of the day, I want our sales guys to be able to log onto the dashboard and go, okay, I don't have to call Karen's team. That is my goal. They still do that a little bit, not as much, because we've trained them on our E2 Open tool for their availability, but there's been so much less noise in our internal channel, all because of us rolling out these things. However, before we can take full advantage of it, we need to know what data we need to own it, manage it, and maintain it in our system, and then we can encompass all of the digital capabilities that we can for our transformation. And here are just some uses that we're using our E2 Open tools in conjunction with various functional areas. We definitely, I think all of us had issues with COVID where we didn't have enough inventory. Some of us who had to deal with semiconductors had to buy a lot of extra. We have that, we're still burning that off. But inventory wasn't a problem then. In fact, everybody was like, hurry up, get more, get more. But then now we're back at that, let's optimize our inventory. We have a lot of areas that we're rolling out now on supply sensing, and we have collaboration with our suppliers. We don't have as many as these 2,000 that I heard yesterday, or 10,000, which is just phenomenal. But we have enough to say I need to get them on board, and really one of the reasons we picked E2Open is I don't have to have that traditional EDI, and I don't argue as much with my suppliers. They just go do it. And fortunately, some of my suppliers are already on that tool with other customers, so it's been helping. And then, as I mentioned, demand is where we started with E2Open, so we feel that that's just continuing to get robust, and we're working with the teams to continue to improve that functional capability. So again, we want to be an AI-enabled organization, and we want to use this embedded AI that's within the E2Open tool so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So let's see what some forward-looking things we're doing. We're applying the planning automation so we can respond faster to the scenarios that, okay, what if we do this? What if this changes? How do we rebalance inventory from one region to another? We were able to roll out our DCs in the regional areas where we have our some demand planners that sit there, and they're able to look across the platform and plan with our corporate planning group to say, let's move this and move that here. We're able to be able to see where we have a problem ahead of time to say, let's move the inventory elsewhere so that we're not sitting here going, oh God, I didn't get it there, the right thing at the right time in the right place. Is it perfect? No, because, you know, for you sales guys, no offense, but you never really get your forecast right. So all of these other planning things, we have to balance into that. So, you know, it's a give and take. I love sales guys. I just don't like them when they blame us for everything, and when I get to blame them back for their lousy forecast. However, it is our job to get that buffer stock there so that when they overexceed and overconsume, it's there for them. We also want to really look at predictive disruptions. I think I was looking at the news this morning. We don't bring anything in on this West Coast, or East Coast, or Gulf, so we're fortunate. But when we had COVID and we had the West Coast where we had just container ships, you know, I would drive into work, and I could see the container ships just waiting in the LA area. And it was just hard to figure out when we were going to get our stuff. We knew that it was out there. We knew it was floating on one of those ships, but we just could not get it a time. So we really want to get to that point where, with our logistics side of it, where we are going to be able to say, I have an ETA, it's on that boat here. And right now we have that, we're just now working to connect it so the entire platform sees it. So there's a lot of work still to go on. I'm not saying it's easy to do, but again, starting, when I say the time for wow is now, start putting your little wows together so then the big wow is there. If you don't start, again, it's harder to keep pace with the ever-changing technology. When you move to decision support, our goal always really here is we want to maximize revenue and really through the customer experience. Our job is there for the customer. I always say this, everything you do to improve supply chain should have a direct impact on customers. So when I see organizations focus solely on sales tools and forget that there's plumbing associated to the back end, they're going to fail. So if you don't build the plumbing that connects to the top of the house, which is your customer that says, I want this, your customer is going to finally flush you down the toilet because you can't give them stuff. And unfortunately, in my past, I have been associated with a company that just did everything for sales, and we were all on spreadsheets, and we could not answer fast enough. That company had one of the top leading products in the industry. It was in the telecom space, and it eventually went bankrupt because we could not commit an order. And why? Because we only worked on spreadsheets. And all the investment was put up front. So I really, really encourage individuals who are leaders especially to constantly drive for that improvement at both sides, because you're just mirror images of yourselves. Supply chain is the person that is working on getting stuff to your customers, but your customers also have their own supply chains. So it's just a mirror. We're doing the same things just in different modes of operation. And we want to have a positive impact to the organization. I really want to be able to stand up there and say, like we did at COVID, we won. My team busted their butts. There was a lot of chaos out there, but we won, and we won, I believe, because we had access to information that would have taken us weeks to prepare, and then it would have been outdated. We didn't have to, we just refreshed. Okay, where are we today? Okay, where are we here? Did we move that? We moved that. Okay, great. So our customers did give us a lot of kudos for that. But I also now want to be able to say, how do I take everything that I'm loading with the E2 Open Suite and now just take advantage of the AI capability in there. So that's this next year, that's what we've been generating a lot of activity for, and that's really what we want to be doing. I'm watching the clock because I don't want to be overtime for you guys. So one other thing that I'm really excited about here, and I just talked to Tommy earlier, yesterday, that I really, really want to talk about that risk profile that they have. So right now, global trade is more complicated than I've ever seen in my life. We have to keep on top of every single different law that comes out or regulation that comes out. Our engineers, we're actually training our engineers now because they weren't aware of a lot of these things. So they're having to redirect the way they design because they're putting in product that we're saying, you're not allowed to put that in there. You can't buy from that company anymore, stop. We have a tool, it's not as, I would say, robust as what I saw yesterday, so I'm gonna dig just to see how deep that goes. But I really want to be able to say at the time we're selecting and designing our products, we're first of all not putting anything in there we shouldn't. But then I want to be able to do some of these things that take us a long time. Again, we haven't rolled this out, we're just starting. But just documentation prep and documentation cleanliness and all the things that AI can do for us that right now takes 2 people and they're inundated with it because our global markets are growing. The go-to-market strategy for QSC has just been growing and growing, and we can't keep up the pace just by hiring people. So we really, really need this. And to me, this is going to be where the future of business is going to have a lot of focus, because at least for us, as we start to enter the government market area, it's going to be so critical that we can answer questions. Even when you're getting ESG questionnaires from your customers, so much is on this now, and we have to be able to answer it with the due diligence that we've done, with the confidence that, yes, I can say that this product is safe to sell to you and you won't find it a problem later in your chain. So this is near and dear to my heart, and I really, really can't wait to dig more into this after what I saw yesterday in some of the breakouts. And why did I pick, this is towards the end of my presentation here, but why did I pick the E2 Open Suite? There's a lot of stuff out there, guys. And I think everybody is on a different journey. At the time we selected our demand, we were on a journey of not having purchasing forecasting. It's like when I joined QSC, purchasing was a forecasting unit. And I'm like, what? I don't get up in the morning and go, I think I'm gonna buy that speaker because I like the color. No, I buy it because you're telling me to buy it. So we decided to get on a platform that allowed us to incorporate sales info. And then I wanted to go beyond the scope of just planning. So the reason I truly selected E2 Open was, one, I knew ERP was not going to do it for me. ERP is great, 4 walls, we're an Oracle house, but it does this much, right? It's your transactional record. But I needed to go end to end. Can it connect to customers? Can we connect to suppliers? Can we connect underneath that original first-tier supply base? So that was the reason I selected it. And you can find all these charts that tell you what's good or what's not. You have to know your stuff. You have to dig into the details, but you also have to know your vision. So work on the vision of what you want at the end of your supply chain journey, but knowing that it's going to change. But for what you know now, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? I always say, Tommy laughs at me, I'm sure, when I say this, where's my stuff, where's my stuff? You talk to your customer, all they ever ask is, where's my stuff? Can I see my stuff? Can I log online? Where's my invoice? Where's this? Whatever it is, it's always where is. I'm doing that with my suppliers. Where's that thing I ordered? How come it's not here? Everybody's always asking where. When you start to look at that question, start to go down through your chain, and you'll start to be able to build your vision. And I hope that as we move forward, that we can sustain each other. Feel free, please, to reach out to me. I think you guys have my email in the app. But just want to stress that we can no longer rely on the information contained in our 4 walls. We just can't. We can't rely on these legacy systems that, okay, we have a lot of people, we've been working on it forever, but is there a better way to do things? Is there a more efficient way to do things? And I'm not talking about headless flow where we cut people. Let's take these people who are doing a great job and increase their capability by showing them other more strategic things to do, and then delivering greater value and focusing on the things that are the soft skills that are like, I'm going to cost reduce because have been able to build a should cost model, or I've been able to do a balanced scorecard, and I've got all the information. I spend my time there now instead of going, let me see, where am I short? Can I go look at that? Oh, wait a minute, I got to call. Where? That's where we got to get off of. So let's empower our people with things that are better than Excel. Excel was a wow for me. It is now no longer a wow. The E2 Open tools that I'm doing with my team, to me, are wows. So I really encourage you guys to do that. And then guess what? Your team will stay engaged. I've got a team. I love them. They're smarter than me, thank God. And they are engaged, and they're teaching me things. E2 Open teaches me things. And all of you guys, when I talk to you, teach me things. Let's stay engaged. Let's stay wowing ourselves. And then guess what? We only can grow. We can only grow together. Yes, we have competitors, but that's always going to happen. But let's grow together, and let's be engaged and connected. And again, please look at my CEO's Infocom talk keynote. It is so fascinating. It'll totally relate to the space we're in today on technology. That's all I have, guys. Thank you so much.